Now, Rainbow's debut marks the 4th listing on the local stock exchange this year. And at the JSE offices, we touched base with the group's head of capital markets, Valdene Reddy, and she shared insights on this milestone.
Well, it's always an excitement to have a new listing on the JSE, and so we are really excited to welcome Rainbow Chickens to the main board of the JSE. But you're right, it's our 4th listing this year. In the equities market, so really celebrating, a healthier IPO pipeline, healthier listings boom, and certainly want to see more to come. It is really good momentum, and hopefully lots more capital raised through the public markets at the JSE.
Well, actually, just talk to me about, the confidence that does instill that, these companies that have been unbundling and separately listing some of their good businesses on the JSE, just the confidence that instills in the fact that they've chosen the JSE for these private listings. Public listings, yes. Separate listings, yes.
Absolutely. So, speaking to the CEO of Rainbow today, he said this is a win-win out of the unbundling from RCL, which is really awesome news to hear. And what he meant by that is really it's an unlock of shareholder value, and that the two entities now can really try and crystallize the worth of a company like Rainbow Chicken. What it means for the broader ecosystem is investors now have access to two counters: RCL Foods, which is one of the larger consumer players in South Africa, and then a specialized poultry play, which is Rainbow Chicken. And it represents so much more. So these types of corporate action, it's a second listing out of an unbundling this year. We Buy Cars was the first one out of Transaction Capital earlier this year. And now we've got Rainbow Chicken out of RCL Foods. And really what it does is it gives more diversity of investor, ability to execute trades, and then also just gives an unlock of value. These companies can thrive and grow in fields that are specialized to them. So it's really exciting to see, and we are thrilled that the JSE provides a really trusted, safe, liquid market that they can come to the public markets, they can grow, they can be a standalone entity on our main board, and investors can support these listings through trade and investment.
Talking about a liquid market, there have been some concerns over the reduced liquidity that we have seen on the JSE this year. Does this worry you a little bit, or do you maybe think it's just a function of the maybe kind of macroeconomic environment and maybe the election risk that we did experience in the first half of this year?
So there's definitely cycles to market, and the JSE and South Africa as a whole represents one of the most liquid markets across the continent, certainly, and certainly across some of our emerging market peers. We're not as large as some of the others, but certainly have healthy liquid markets, lots of activity on the exchange, on the central order book. But you're right, when we talk about decreased liquidity, I think there was also a sentiment or a concern around the number of delistings, so the addressable universe. But what we saw is the delistings is really in the small and mid-cap space. And in fact, we've had healthy liquid markets in top 60, top 100 counters. But you're right, the macro overhang, we had things like the FATF grey list, the credit down rating of South Africa, all provides an overhang to the market, where even South Africa's weighting has decreased in some of the major global indices, emerging market indices, and that dampens some of the trade activity. We also had some of the changes where our locals had invested offshore last year. A large part of that was investor sentiment into elections. Today we have the markets reacting positively towards now finally an outcome in our government of national unity, and hopefully a way forward. There's been a lot of uncertainty over the past month.
And I actually want to ask, because I mean, you're right, even the cabinet posts were filled yesterday. So is there kind of more optimism in the corridors of the JSE in terms of the trading activity that we could see from now on?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, local and international investors were cautious into the elections, and then obviously from the elections to date we had a lot of moving parts, unprecedented moves with things like government of national unity, and now the cabinet positions and which portfolios will be held by which ministers. So it's been a lot of uncertain times, but investors have been waiting for business-friendly, positive sentiment, And I think we've got that. You know, we first had it when the Government of National Unity was announced, and the markets reacted so positively. And then again today, you saw the rand firming up, and especially our local counters, people have just been waiting for certainty. Now they'll want to see execution delivery. But yes, absolutely optimistic about a new future that can unfold with this type of coalition, and really looking at what does that mean. The capital markets are a strong indicator for the South African growth and the economy. So you will see those play out in the equity and bond movements over the next couple of weeks.
All right. And the pipeline going forward for the rest of this year, the second half of 2024?
It's looking good. It's looking much better. As you said, there was a macro overhang for probably about 4 or 5 years. South Africa specific, but also globally, you saw a number of delistings in the public market. The pipeline's looking a lot healthier than we've seen before. And now with the sentiment shift, macro changing, hopefully those timings will land to say we will see more listings. So we're looking forward to being in this chair, welcoming a few more counters to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange over the rest of the year.
That was Valdene Reddy from the JSE.